Championship campaign. But Taka Nakagami out of the gate quick this morning, a 1:30.829 saw him top FP1 from the two going in FP3 after his COVID-19 troubles.
Here is the World Championship leader, Juan Mir, he is the world champion here on Sunday. If for some reason he doesn't pick up any points, then that's where it might start getting a little bit more common point. It's always wrecked. There's always some part of your shoulder that never recovers. And he said it's got to be a concern. And now in Jerez 1, the aborted comeback in Jerez 2. Yeah, I mean, all we can do is hope that Marc Marquez's back plans were thrown really into disarray with the confirmation that Andre Iannone, a doping ban extended. Does that leave them now in terms of their rider chase for 2021 and a teammate for Aleix Spargo? Well, I'm delighted to say I'm sure that's one of the questions.
Round poor old Massimo out. You must be very disappointed, you know, to lose Andrea as your rider, but now thoughts on how best to replace him?
Well, Simon, as you said, I'm quite disappointed of the sentence. But we have to take it as it is now and carry on and look forward. The options in Moto2, there are very interesting young riders. Good riders are with what Bradley did. So I don't have the answer now, but I think two young riders, but also World Superbike like Gerloff. Is that what I said or what you said? And if the Moto2 riders seems to be quite ready when they jump into a superbike, because the prototype bikes are less a bit stiffer in Moto2 as well as in MotoGP.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Massimo Rivola as well. Either way, Loris.
Their plan A was obviously Andrea Dovizioso. They knew he's been on the market since the middle of August when he dropped that bombshell. His speed and his experience would have been a very valuable asset indeed to move that RSGP onto the next level. Execute, well, I guess you could call it plan C now. Plan A, of course, was Andre Iannone on board, but that didn't work out. Plan B was Dovi, that's not worked out.
A few riders have gone out with soft rear tyres in early on in this session. Stefan Bradl, Morbidelli, who was quickest until Johan Zarco it goes fastest to 31.080. We just saw his crew chief down in the garage there, Frankie Carcetti, who I think looks a bit. It's going to be a real nerve-wracking weekend for everybody connected to Suzuki. Of course, it's been so long, 20 years since they were the first lap on Sunday, was able to remount and limp home in 14th place, but you feel that was his championship challenge. Genuine nervousness felt around the paddock when it comes to test time. We were in the middle of triple headers. I know that Frankie Carcetti was absolutely the world champion, but he said our number one job, this was last Sunday, is getting a negative result from our next set of COVID with COVID testing. I mean, of course, that's what has to happen in order for us to be able to be in this bubble, to come racing. But I think Joanna's gone on record as if to say, getting my negative test result was like
pole position. Yeah. And Frankie Carcetti with his family, of course, that's what he would love to have done, but to make sure that he's COVID-19 free, he's been on the run in Jerez back in mid-July. A lot of Japanese members of staff, Australians and people from all around the world. They really have and the extra burden that you don't normally have to encounter in this kind of environment, but you can just see the relief was, as we said, his little comment at the end of the race. He's mentioned on a few occasions, you know, I'm not stressed about this situation. The stress is, we're all lucky. We are, you know, to be at this stage of the season, to still be racing. It's a credit to having to deal with things with everyone and their loved ones away as well. I know that we both sit here, Matt, we've just taken a tumble. Alex Marquez, he had a couple of spills here last weekend, one in the race which cost him another visit to the top 10
on the circuit here. That will no doubt be a typical front end washout. I was just going to say, in sport, yeah, there are some stresses, but nothing in comparison to what other people are coping with. And I have to say, from a personal point of view,
last weekend it was wet, but they seem to have found something as well in terms of their soft tyre pace. Alex Rins back-to-back front rows now, and that spells trouble for the rest of the pack, doesn't it? If the Suzuki can start qualifying well, and with how good they are at managing the rear tyre, strong as it is right now anyway.
Yeah, and Mir said that during the weekend as well, in the wet and the damp, they found something to help them in case we did. So you just never know what we might encounter at the final round of this World Championship. Yeah, Portimao still with the championship on the line. He's going to want to get it all done and dusted as quickly as he possibly can. Jack Miller goes across the line. 3 riders inside the top 7, with Pol Espargaro in 3rd, Miguel Oliveira in 5th, and of course Binder in 7th. And
he is fit. It was a great ride, great results from Pol last weekend, you know, with pole position and a 3rd. There goes Brad Binder. going to be pretty hard to make a step forward from the results.
Better one. I want to be here when it happens. No, it's for us was just a great weekend last weekend, you know, and we had to regroup somehow, and we had to find some small things to get better again. And I was really happy to see that we had last 10 Sunday in dry and a little bit warmer. We were always competitive, and that was good to see that we found something between the two Aragon races.
One moment, we'll just... Oh, that's Paul just leaving, sorry.
And the long lap penalty, Miguel good, and then Paul. I mean, we all talk how good the Suzuki is right now.
I can imagine, well, I was trying to picture what you would want, but your other KTM riders to make a step closer.
Because we know this is the future for next year, and we want them to do good. But second weekend, everybody wants to improve, everybody wants to do better. So it's tough in the second weekend. You see how close the times are already this morning, and yeah, but
the start device has moved from the left thumb kind of to a lever, much like the other changed, or what?
That's what we work on, yes. So we need to find still a way, but first of all, we are
luck with the weekend, Pete. Thank you.
Yeah, always ready to race, KTM, and evolving as well, positive.
And it looks like it's going to be this man that will prevail and take the title. Such a huge advantage, 37 points clear of the chase.
There's something not quite working for Fabio Quartararo at the moment. He said yesterday in the press conference that it's time to try, and it's just this morning, and he goes to second with a 31.063.
Yeah, that's kind of where you'd expect it to be, wouldn't you, really, when you're trying to muscle a MotoGP bike, 300 horsepower and all of it, around. He's in full-out attack. It's quite amazing. I mean, Maverick Vinales, as we said, he's no idea how he can keep his heart rate so low. For 33 laps that Michelin allow riders to run on one tyre, so he's getting very close to the limit.
Another top lap coming in for Takaki Nakagami as we look here at Mir, who's getting himself ready for... Like Taka's already decided that he wants to go. This is going to be a sub 131 lap coming in from the LCR Honda rider. He's 2.7 for Taka Nakagami.
Seeing more of this, aren't we? Riders in FP2 and FP3 in particular going for soft top, caught up in those yellow flag infringements. So this is becoming quite a new strategy and tactic of quite a few riders now. They'll a bit later on.
Let's get an update on the tyres now, though, before things get busy, and you can follow Nakagami around this lap. Piero Taramasso standing by with
at Jerez, and what you think most likely choices will be this weekend.
Yes, the tire they work well last week. We have a good information for all the range of the tire we have. But for the race, it looks like it will be raceable. So you can use the medium front, the hard front, the three rears, soft, medium, and hard rear. If you want to push at the beginning of the race and control at the end, or if you want to control at the beginning and vice versa. So everything is going in the right direction.
One quick question, was only Franco Morbidelli. He said in his debrief that it wasn't the tyres, it was the tyre pressure in the front. So you're thinking it's likely...
It was not a gamble what he did. We know that the compound from the hard rear, he worked temperature on the track, some rubber, conditions were not the perfect one. But for the riders, they have tyre consumption.
Mir lost control of that front tyre. The hard front flicks it right, and gravity takes over, unfortunately, and straight back out there on the spare bike. And normally the guys go out there and they improve straight away. To go. As Davide Brivio looked that ashen-faced, so much at stake for Suzuki. They're on course, as we said, for the truly historic season, the Triple Crown beckoning. Heart rate just going up a little bit.
Maverick Vinales was on a really tidy lap, but has decided to pull into pit lane.
Another very strong lap, the Spaniard, who's going for 4 podiums in a row to keep his golden run going. And a podium that
Maverick Vinales and Aleix Espargaro, their times from this morning at present, have them in Q2 as it stands.
Army then that leads the way, him and Zarco, the only two men in this second session that have found anything under a 131 career here in Valencia. Still picks up another position though, Rins. Edges up now to 6, that's his best of the session at 131 at 10th spot.
Crutchlow himself on a decent lap, a 10th down in sector 2. Paul Espargaro on a PB as well. Crutchlow's for the number 46. This might push him up into top 10 contention. Across the line we go. And Rossi goes, he stays
172, which has put him up into 8th place.
Here comes Polis Spargaro, 2/10 down in second. Into 6th place, excellent from the German, with a 31.1.
The exact same lap time set by Franco Morgan, 10th down to Maverick Vinales in 18th place. So as Steve mentioned, at the moment is still holding on to a place in Q2 on the
Tommy's time, across the line we go, not far away, lost 2/10 in the last sector, 30.9. Alicia Spargaro going for it again as well. And now Espargaro, Alicia that is up in sector 3.
I'm guessing he's still behind this man, Joan Mir. Both brothers 1-2 here the way it's going.
Dovi also on a pretty good lap. Alicia Spargaro, there he is in fact. He's done that some promising time for Andrea Dovizioso.
And Polis Spargaro was stringing together an excellent lap on them. So he's now the 6th man of this afternoon session to dip into those 130s.
Stefan Bradl improves again.
Racing this year, of course, with wildcards restricted. Well, no wildcards because of the paddock restrictions on team personnel.
Ducati and blast across the line to go second, a 30.7 for the Italian.
A bit more like it from the 23-year-old former Moto2 champ on a high note.
His teammate also flying up by a 10th, as we see sideways there from the World Championship leader, Joan Mir.
12th. Good lap this by Miller. Excellent lap. Mir at the moment in 8th place. Fastest far across the 2 weekends in Valencia, 30.622.
And Bagnaia not done yet. We could have a Pramac Ducati 1-2 in a second. The best he can manage. Binder has taken the check flag, 14th for him, but it's so close.
Of course, worth noting that at the moment Mir 9th, but not on the combined standings. Right now Mir, so he's going to have a bit of work to do tomorrow morning potentially.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? It looks that way. Because try and end this session fastest. He's just lost time there. Crutchlow also on an improving lap in 15th overall.
In sessions this season have not really hurt Suzuki. They've come through from the 3rd and 4th row to fight for victories in more than one race.
In Q2 early on.
3/10 of a second that are splitting the top 9 men. 3/10. Dramas, the crash at turn 4 while he was looking at that hard Michelin front tyre, and he misses out on that top 10.
Mir was definitely on the limits. A couple of times now, actually, we've seen that. Was that a puff of smoke? The cameras have never been more fixed.
Mean fighting machine, isn't he, Jack Miller?
Thumbs up from him. And I'm sure that
and the eagle-eyed amongst the fans at home spotted that he was wearing his mask upside down, which is just so typically Jack. Biting those fingernails right now.
This was the crash from earlier, turn 4.
You don't say that. Yep.
In the MotoGP paddock. Jack Miller, fastest in FP2, just as he was this time last week.
Good to see him back in the top 3. But it was a thriller Miller for the Australian in that. The men in the important top 10 right now, with the top 2, Bagnaia, Polis Spargaro, Zarco, Dovizioso, Crutchlow, and he took a tumble at turn 4, so Mir with work to do to get into Q2 tomorrow. Fabio Quartararo spent a lot of his time on track today focusing